Hey everybody, welcome back. We're going to do the Ausable Caddis series from Fran Betters, continuing with the hair wing theme. And we have, starting at the top left and going counterclockwise, we have the tan, then we have the green, we have the brown, black, and done. And I'm going to do the first one slow. 94840 is the hook. He says size 14, 16, and 18. And we'll start with the tan. So we'll do tan thread to match. And then for most of them, for the fur body, is Australian possum. So I have a container of different colors. And then for the tan caddis, we're going to use a tannish colored deer hair or something, or deer hair that's as close to tan as possible. And we're going to dress the entire hook with pre-waxed thread. And like the haystack, which I had done as well, it's a series. What Fran means by a series is a pattern that's easy to tie with readily available materials that covers a family of insects at a particular stage of insects, and that all you have to do is vary the colors to alter it for the species, maybe color and size for the different species. So the haystack is really for mayflies, emerging, and or duns on the water, and he found it also useful for caddis, but felt he really needed to develop a caddis series because caddis was such an important insect on his waters in the Ausable and throughout the United States. So this was something he always played with and worked on, and the series was finally culminated in those 5 flies. So it's basically a dressed body, and then you're going to make a cigar-shaped body out of the fly with the dubbing, and then we're going to use deer hair for a wing. Now, you don't want a lot of deer hair, you want a little bit of deer hair, and you want it mostly sloping straight back rather than up, and to have like a little bit of a bulbous head. So I'm just preparing the deer hair. Cut a chunk off. I get rid of all the shorts and the fluffy stuff, enter it into a stacker, and stack it up. And we're going to line it up here and measure it against. Now the length, he wants it to just go to the bend and not past that. And then you cut it, leaving about 1/8 of an inch up at that head. To tie in and also to flare out and create like a little bit of a head, a little bit of a buggy head. Now, this category of fly is by Datus Proper. It's called a deer hair sedge. I don't know who invented it, who is the first. I don't think Fran was necessarily the first, but is definitely one of the people who popularized it. And Bob Wyatt mentions it as well, and he was aware of the pattern, maybe even from Fran, but in general, I think he was aware of it, the concept beforehand. So this concept of a hair for a body and just a deer hair wing with a little bit of a bulbous head to imitate caddis and or other insects was definitely something that had been around for quite some time. So I'm including it in this hair wing series as kind of an important design. Not necessarily that Fran invented it here, but to mention it as an important fly design. And I thought the series was useful, not only because I like Fran and his flies, but it gives you a good example of the coverage that you can have with this. So we're going to do the green now, super fast, because we're just repeating with different colors here. And for the green, he suggests using like a light insect green for the body and a grayish tint to your deer hair for the wing. And gluing the head, as you saw me do there in the first one, is really important. Holds everything up on top. Now the deer hair will of course float. This is mule deer hair that I just got a hold of from Magpie that you probably saw me use in the Avaledo bucktail. But it has a great little grayish tint to the bulk or central part of the hair's length. So I'm going to use that for this. And yeah, and I've also done a deer hair sedge, Bob Wyatt's version, which again is the exact same thing as this. You know, he just has some ideas for the body color that are a little bit different. But again, it totally advocates for this fly as a great impression of Caddis, and as a great impressionistic pattern in general to use. So again, with this second one, I made the wing a little too long. That's all right. You just back off, trim it a little shorter, and you're good. Get that nice bulbous head there, and again, get some glue in there. We're going to skip that for this one. Now we're going to go with the brown and some brown deer hair, natural brown color for the deer hair. Again, pre-waxed thread. I'm using 110 denier here and or 6/0 from a bunch of different makers. I think these first few was Magpie's thread. I'll use Uni at some point in here as well. 6/0. Fran recommends 5/0. So yeah, you basically need a little bit of a thicker thread to work with the deer hair, and will help make this body bulkier, faster. But super simple concept and great patterns. So you know, I think I highly suggest these. And the floatability, you know, deer hair obviously is a great floater, but like a lot of Fran's, dry flies, the usual as well, the haystack, a little bit of a sink, not a big deal, you know. If your floating wears off and starts to sink, then it just looks like the emerging insect. Works often just as well. Sometimes even at the end of a drift, you know, a little bit of a tug on the line will pop the fly under and up. Pop it up again, and it'll imitate emergence, and you get a strike right like that. So, you know, not necessarily a super high rider, but you know, just great patterns. And yeah, here's the brown and the brown deer hair coming through. We're almost done on that one. Just checking everything. That's on top. The fully dressing of the hook does definitely help, including the hook eye area, actually, to adhere the deer hair. And as you learn, your deer hairs flare. Like this one doesn't flare so much, so you know, it might have been actually more advantageous for me to leave a little bit more length at the head, so that when it did tighten down, there would be more material there to make that buggy head, but the fly will work nonetheless. And again, glue, really important. So black now, and dark deer hair for the black body and dark deer hair. So that was roe deer hair. Roe deer is a deer species in Europe, and it's a patch I have there has really dark hair to it. So I'm not a big fan of the dyed stuff. You know, Fran did do a lot of dyeing himself of different materials. But you know, if you're going to use a lot of deer hair and you want to get dyed black, you can. And dyed gray dun, I guess, would be the other one that would be useful. So this is dyed black possum fur. In this case, where the body sinks, you know, I'm less less opposed to dyeing. I'm not so sure the color of the wing up above, that's above the water, matters tremendously, except for your visibility, for you to see. I'm not so sure the trout are super finicky about these details, so I'd rather just kind of keep it in the natural zone. There's nothing wrong with dyeing. I mean, it's up to each person on their own. So you can see that roe deer hair is very dark in color, and yeah, kind of fits the bill, I think, here for what's going on. Get that nice little bulbous head there. Just trying to get me a path to the eye of the hook. Push those guys back. But that's the idea. Didn't like the length there. And the way the head tied in. I'm going to try and finagle it. I'm probably spending way too much time on it, but I do want to clear that eye a little bit. Got myself a pathway. There you go with the black one. Get a little glue in there to hold that all together. Make sure that its eye is clear. And we got it. So it's clear. Black one is done. And now we'll do the dun. So the dun one has gray, and I'm super speeding this one up, and muskrat fur. So this is muskrat, which is a natural gray. I'm getting rid of these guard hairs because I took it off the skin myself. Got some, and then I'm going back to that mule deer hair that I did with the green one for the grayish dun color. And get your bulbous head there, and boom, that's it. Done with the dun, gray dun. And here's a close-up of the green one just to see the idea. And that's all. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care. Bye.